What if your IT service desk helped you put your customers first? It can happen when it's powered by the world's most trusted cloud platform. Industry leaders BMC Software and Salesforce.com offer the fastest growing IT service management solution in the market today, RemedyForce. Let's meet Sally. Last week, Sally requested an iPhone by logging a ticket using the hashtag request capability, found exclusively in RemedyForce. IT got a request, and Sally got her iPhone. All was good until her mobile email stopped working. No worries. Sally jumps on to the RemedyForce self-service portal, and before submitting a service request, she checks out the articles section and quickly finds a possible solution to her problem by resetting her phone. Sally finds easy-to-follow, step-by-step instructions on how to remove and reinsert her SIM card. In this case, resetting her iPhone didn't work, so Sally decides to get help from IT. She gives some information about her problem and submits the service ticket. It's instantly routed to a service desk agent. Now, as an agent, you can start to get more information about Sally's problem. You can quickly tell if there's a problem on a larger scale. Right away, you notice there's planned maintenance. And diving deeper, you see there's a problem associated with the server and email on mobile devices. It also looks like someone has already issued a request for change, so you check out the latest status. Good news! There's a rollout plan, a backup plan, and information about who approved the change. It looks like Sally's email will be back up and running in no time. That makes Sally happy, and you a hero. Email is just one of the many critical business services your customers rely on. And with RemedyForce, you can monitor the status of any business or IT service at a glance. Deployment is fast and easy with no hardware or software to manage. Upgrades are automatic, so you'll always be on the newest version with the latest features. And RemedyForce is accessible to customers anywhere, anytime, on any device. Keep your employees happy and your business thriving. Try RemedyForce today.
Hello. Well, you've heard many sessions in the past hours about leadership, about personal development, about IT service management practices. Well, I'm going to talk today about something a slightly different, but you'll see a lot of synergy here, about community management. And I will cover how IT service management and community management can learn from each other. So my name is Laurenceau, and I speak here from wonderful France. So to go a bit deeper on this topic, let's begin just sharing my screen here. Let's begin by introducing the pitch. The pitch was the good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, good news, you'll see that I will spend most of the time on the good part. So, community management. Let's spend some time on the definition here. We all do community management. We all interact on various platforms. It's Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc., etc. And I know I will forget many of them. So we all interact with a network of users and share, learn, discover with them, discover from them. So community management is something we all do. Before going deeper, let's, well, I guess follow Ruth or Aris and Simone about the storytelling part. Once upon a time, people were only interacting with letters, like real letters. And then it changed. Okay, let's switch to something more current. Once upon a time, people were only interacting with emails. And every day they were sending a bunch of emails to a lot of people, to a distribution list, to a list of people, and it never included the right people. So then the email was forwarded to all the other people, and then the feedback was not sent to the right guy. So it was, going in loops, and the usual email thread hell we're all familiar with. So one day, I'm not sure what the earliest one is. Let's say, okay, I will pick Twitter. One day, Twitter said, okay, instead of sharing like that in a one-to-one manner, let's share things public. And then people on that platform can interact with each other and learn from each other, and things go crazy fast on Twitter. People discover new skills using Twitter. And it's the same thing for all the communities, public communities we're familiar with. So definitely one definition of a community is where audience meets content. So community management, some people make a job out of it. I do, and many of us do around the world. If we ask people what community management or social media management is, well, many people think it's like playing. Many of my friends think that I do that. My mother thinks it's like playing. Many people around the world don't know exactly what it is and think it's kind of magical. Well, we'll see that it is not, and it's fun and everything, but it's not magical. It is not that high tech. There are many things going on to make that work, but not that high tech. And at the end of the day, I'm an other community manager. I'm not Mark Zuckerberg at all, or anybody who created some hot online startup. We interact with users online, and more importantly, we'll talk about that. We interact with real people, real human beings, making them win. So social media management or community management, compared to what we've seen in LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., is where big companies here like Cisco, EMC, or BMC for my job, I've created a community where users meet content, where audience meet content, where people can help each other, learn from each other in a very scalable fashion. The definition of community management, and I will use, well, a community too, Wikipedia. Wikipedia is where people happily share and moderate each other on whatever is posted. So common management of common resources by a community, collective actions of volunteers and stakeholders. So my takeaway here, it's a very flat organization, no complex rules and processes. There is some guidelines, moderation and stuff, but everybody interacts with everybody. It's like very flat, volunteers all the way to stakeholders help each other. So if we take the example of, again, EMC, NetApp, BMC, a community is far more than what we were familiar with forums. A forum is where people, ask questions, share issues, and others engage and try to help. When we talk about a real community, it's because there is a strategy behind it, not only a bandage to fix a pain point with forums. The strategy is really to care about the people, making sure that the people, the community members, they may be customers, they may be partners, they may be analysts, they may be prospects, and sometimes we don't know, but community members have a great experience when engaging on the community. The transparency they enjoy when engaging on the community just helps them with their business. So people is key. It's definitely the top word. Other P words that make sense here: platform commitment, making sure we give them one strategic platform so that they can easily engage with. For example, it's highly valuable to make sure that on a given community for a vendor, we make sure that external authentication is allowed so that people can use their whatever Google, Facebook authentication and don't have to remember a login password for each community they interact on. So platform is here to hide itself, to make sure that people can share in a very easy way. Programs, this marketing term, programs. Well, in a community, we make sure that the users meet with not only other users, obviously, but meet with people at the vendor or whoever owns the community to make sure the whole crowd is in sync, that whatever is delivered by the company is in sync with what the users need and want for their business. And definitely pains, making sure that we talk about good news, but solve pains that could make users, community members, slower or more concerned when interacting. By the way, before I go further, you're probably looking at this video from the tomorrowsfuturetoday.com/live URL, where you have this bright talk screen displaying the video. You can also use the BrightTalk application on iPhone and Android phone to view it from your mobile device. And for the web part, if you want to ask a question, that's at the top here. At the top of the screen, there is ask a question. I will probably review the question at the end of the session, but make sure to put them here. Okay, I added a couple of keywords on this view here. A couple of keywords. If you mostly work in IT service management, well, you recognize those keywords. It's, it may be hype, but it's, terminology that makes a lot of sense in your world. When in community management, it's the same too. Those keywords, empower, DevOps, sell outside in, cloud, those keywords actually are how a community run. Let's focus on cloud here. Most, if not all, communities actually fully run on the cloud. It's like a no-brainer. So the way communities work is actually fully in sync with what IT service management has been pitching for years. Big data is really big in communities. People, mobile. The chasm, I don't know if many of you are familiar with that. That happens to be a methodology I like. Crossing the Chasm by Geoffrey Moore. Let me focus on that a little bit. So the chasm is this concept that in order to grow adoption of something, on something pretty innovative, you need to grow from the early adopters all the way to the early majority, and you need to change the way interactions happen. So all these things, when you build a product as a product manager, all these things are how you design the go-to-market for a product. So service owners in the IT world are often big on that methodology. Well, definitely is the case too for community management. And on a given community, some sub-community may have crossed the chasm, some others may have not yet. And orchestrating all of this creates even more value for everybody. Okay, let's share the good part. And we'll be quick on the bad and ugly part. So a couple of themes in at the top here, a couple of themes that are big in the IT service management world: self-service, empower, concierge, making sure, Genius bar, making sure that people meet with each other. Well, that's what happened definitely on the community. At the top here, you can see what NetApp does for the user groups. The user groups are geo-focused user groups, people who can meet to meet, who can face to face, who can have a beer. Well, the visual is pretty clear. People who don't only work together, but they really connect. Real life too. Bottom left with the EMC program here as the expert. That's where key experts, I believe from support at EMC, key experts give their time. They say, okay, for that period of time, go ask any topic, any question on this particular topic, and we'll give the right experts to help you out. Great program here. This one, let me focus a little bit on this one. This one is the worldwide event from Jive World. Jive is a software vendor, and that happens to power many successful communities around the world. So here for the Jive World event, so the event is obviously face-to-face, on-site, happens in Vegas. See here, it was in October last year, and I believe it's in October this year too, in Vegas again. So there is obviously this face-to-face, but there is live online too. So online, there is this community where the latest news are shared, where depending on engagement, you see bottom left, games, gamifications going on, depending on who the speakers are and what they do, how they engage, do they check in on the booth, do they check in on the session. Bottom right, sorry, are all the tweets with the right hashtags. So the event happens obviously on site, but the life in the cloud happens on the community too, and people meet and connect on the community. Again, on the people to people topic, power to the people is key on any community. Let's focus a little bit on how crowdsourcing happens and peer support. Peer support is about getting help from your peers, other customers, other partners. So here, you can see the top participant widget on one of the communities here. You may be familiar with several of the people there. The important thing is that in that top 6 all time, in that top 6, I see, I guess, 1 or 2 people who have spent time within the vendor, in this case BMC. Others are customers, partners, independent consultants who are really big, who make their own business thanks to their engagement, to their skills. And I actually have a nice story here. A partner in UK who actually gets business, gets contract thanks to his online engagement. He doesn't share a resume, CV to get a contract. He points out what he does on the community. And because he's really useful, he's really skilled in helping out the rest of the community, well, he gets many contracts thanks to that. So if you want to hear to a better accent, you can look here at Jason Miller on the YouTube. Can be seen if you go directly on the Prezi that is posted. You can find it. I posted on Twitter a couple of times. It's at Matt_L, as you can see here. Other topic where the practices in community management could help a lot. So a pretty interesting set of acronyms in the IT world: CMDB, knowledge management, KCS, and CSI. So all these things are about people helping each other maintaining things, right? That's what we call curation. Curation is about creating content and people. I just will give one example, and it also illustrates, why Mishi on the previous screen, on the previous leaderboard, was pretty big. This document created, how was it, like almost 3 years ago by Mishi. So this document has been viewed almost 42,000 times. It was collaboratively, collaboratively authored by a couple of experts around the world. No bottleneck, no gatekeeper. People just help each other and maintain one single source of truth. Well, definitely Wikipedia style. So you can see here people from various countries, various companies maintaining this same very document. So that's curating content. This document and that actually points as a table of content to many other documents. So when we think about it for CMDB, for a knowledge base, well, all these collaborative authoring and curation by making pointers to each other makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about people. People are the most important things. I should not say things. So, excuse my French. So people definitely the most important asset of any company. So if on the top you see a couple of MVP program, one from EMC on the left and one from SAP with the famous SAP mentors on the right. Why is it curating people? Because those experts have access to specific information, specific knowledge, are enabled before the crowd. You know, the crossing the chasm chart that was shown earlier on, that exactly that. They have access to specific, highly specific information that enables them to scale up enablement later on. By the way, in the first word cloud that was displayed, I hope you've seen gamification. Gamification, as we've seen with the leaderboard, for example, is really key in any community. And giving access to specific areas, giving more power to some users are key in any gamification program. On the bottom here is an advisory board. Again, making sure that feedback happens quickly and often and efficiently without bottleneck, without slow down between users all the way to the R&D here. Another process of IT service management, let's talk about release management. So release management is about orchestrating all the steps to make sure we can do a powerful change at the end of the day. So let's focus a little bit on this thing. So beta programs could run on a community. It's actually highly valuable. If you run a beta program on a community, you scale things up. In the past, beta programs were like one-to-one conversations between this product manager, this support engineer, this R&D guy to a customer. This is not powerful. I mean, from an effort point of view, it's huge effort, low return of value, return on efforts. Whereas if you use a community, and mostly private communities for private beta programs, or open beta programs too, if you use a community for that, well, people from all the teams learn from each other, from the documentation team, from the install team, from the I don't know, QA, user experience team, because they talk with the real users, and the real users are customers, partners, perhaps sometimes analysts who help out to understand the right move for this product. So by having this inter-team collaboration, by leveraging transparency, allowing all these interactions, well, it's a win-win. The users are enabled far earlier. These users, this core set of users will be enabled far earlier. And later on, scale up enablement for others in the community, other customers. But more importantly, the product will be better. The product will definitely fit to the market, which is one of the definition of marketing. So transparent collaboration here, allowing people from all the teams, all the stakeholders, definitely creates win-wins. And the examples were beta programs. Another topic that is often brought up on the previous examples where we saw this big engagement from users, like thousands of users each day interacting on a given product. That was the leaderboard we talked about. Okay, why does it happen? Because as Rajat is the founder of a gamification company, as Rajat said, it replaces boring communication by inspired collaboration for valuable and interactive participation. It's a bit full of buzzwords, but definitely means what's behind the whole thing. Making sure that people engage, people interact because they see the value here. So when we have all these people engaging and we make everything easy for them to engage, to vote up somewhere, well, you click the up button. You make a blog post, make sure to add a question, make it easy for them to like or to add a comment. Well, very easily, people go ahead and like and answer the questions with comments. It's about definitely making it easy. A topic that often is brought up is, okay, how do you avoid noise? Definitely, it could be worse than email. The issue with email is that even with filtering mechanism on Outlook or Gmail or whatever, well, you get indeed a lot of noise. Whereas in most communities, you have ways to opt in, opt out on whatever you want to be aware of, be notified about. This user, this blog, this community, etc., etc. So you can follow exactly what you want here and be notified directly on your mobile phone and or on the web interface. Or on the last item here at the bottom, get started, is a neat way to leverage gamification here. In order to train the users to get started, to be onboarded on your community, well, hope is not a strategy. Let's make sure the get started steps appear directly in the user interface so that people click on it and have a game. Okay, they were 0%, 10%, 20. They want to go at least 60, 80, all the way to 100. And the more they learn, the more they enjoy the community and interactions there. So let's spend some time on the bad and ugly. And it's not that bad and ugly, let's be honest. The bad thing, spammers. Because communities are made to be really easy to join, really easy to post to, well, some people have evil goals and want to post things on the community. Well, there are automations that actually can trap them, and it's easy to get rid of them and to have legal in the loop when needed to make sure things do not happen again. So spammers are bad. This obviously mostly happen on external communities. Sometimes may happen on internal communities, but it's definitely more seldom. The one thing, the ugly thing that is seen on many communities is trolls. Trolls is actually like a Trojan horse. Trolls is users who are within the community, like accepted within the community, and from time to time begin to like ruin the experience by bashing people or posting bad things. So it's both harder to catch and even worse from the user experience point of view. So trolls are something to be aware of and be very careful with. Oh, by the way that many communities handle spammers and trolls is through automations and crowdsourcing. Whenever somebody finds something that looks uncool, there is an uncool button or whatever, report abuse button, where any user around the world can press that button and the admin team or moderators will be notified so that they can take an action. So again, the community management processes by themselves help to fix that. So good news. The bad definitely exceeds. I'm sorry, the good definitely exceeds the bad and ugly parts on a community. I've touched upon a couple of topics where indeed IT service management processes could leverage some practices in community management. I hope that you saw the analogies and it brings new ideas to build products where engagement is even bigger. One key theme of many communities is social business. And when we usually think about ITIL, it's like business and IT alignment. When we talk about ITIL tools these past years, people talk about social IT. Well, community management is directly the merger of that. It's social business directly, making sure IT is behind the scene, obviously, but people interact on what makes sense for their specific business in a very social manner so that they enjoy interaction, connecting, sharing, and discovering from each other. So with that, I'm done with the first part, I guess, of the presentation. And before we go on the Q&A session, I want to share this statement from Seth Godin. And you guys can read it while asking your first questions. The teaser of Seth Godin was that you need to love your customers. Obviously, you want to have transactions with them and to make money and to live thanks to business with these customers. But if you love your customers, if you give them ways to succeed, well, they will love you even more. They will make more transactions with you, and they will be viral and make sure that prospects become customers too in the future. So let's have a look at the questions. Questions here from Danielle Billing. How do you teach people what is okay to share and what is considered IP? Ooh, that's a sensitive question. So let me kill screen share to have a more real life experience here. So, how to teach people what is okay to share and what is considered IP, intellectual property. This happens, and I will definitely address that. The things that happens that is far worse is people not sharing. People not sharing is that they have a concern and they keep their concern for themselves. Or sometimes they share it somewhere else, like on LinkedIn or with friends at a party or stuff. So the balance is pretty tricky here. We need to make sure that people share enough but not too much because some things are secret. Some things need to be protected. So we actually, I mean, for the communities I'm familiar with on BMC communities and a couple of other vendors, we have two things. The first thing is a guideline that is posted, and we curate these guidelines whenever somebody asks questions. But viral enablement, like learning from the field, learning from being a practitioner, is the best way to go. Something else I need to add on this topic is that there is nothing new in online community management. 20 years ago, when employees were sitting in an airplane, in a train, well, what can they talk about loud? Sometimes they need to go in private to talk about secret things. So the no-braining rules of when you sit in an airplane or in a train apply for community management. So Daniel, if it answers your question, we're good. If you have specific questions, please ask them again. What initial activity would you start with to create a sharing culture? Oh, how to make sure that people begin to share. So people share. People sometimes do not share in the business, in the enterprise, on their job, just because we make things easy and not easy for them, or there are strong legal rules that prevents people to share stuff. Well, by making things, the culture, far more informal, people are less afraid to share. And also, we need to capitalize on key wins. Remember the crossing the chasm curve? We need to capitalize on innovators and early adopters and making sure we showcase the success. So when somebody shared an issue and that helped to fix something big for the company, well, let's showcase that. Let's put the spotlight on this user who definitely helped the bigger community, the whole company, by sharing this issue. So crossing the chasm, Geoffrey Moore applies, and obviously less formal culture. Again from Daniel, he was busy. What kind of competence do you need in a moderator community manager? Okay, so I guess the question is, in order to be a moderator or community manager, what competence do you need? So there is no simple rule for that. Let me stress a couple of items. People need to be savvy enough on the topic they're talking about. This community, this product, this discipline, they need to be savvy enough. They need to be trusted. And you know that in social, trust is earned, definitely earned. So, so bringing a new moderator or a new community manager in a second isn't good, because users of the community do not, may not trust him yet. So subject matter experts are pretty good. Then social skills like communication skills, and it's not how to write good English, obviously doesn't apply for me, but it's how to interact with people, making sure that you not beat them off because they ask a question, you help them succeed. So this empathy skill is pretty important to be a community manager. Other question: how to engage the ones who have a lot of knowledge and who don't want to share? And I don't know who has this question. How to engage the ones who have a lot of knowledge and who don't want to share? Crossing the chasm, again, crossing the chasm. Those people may have many good or bad reasons not to share. we definitely need to focus on the low-hanging fruits first. So making sure that the people who want to share indeed do it and get good feedback out of it, learn from it. They make mistakes, they learn from these mistakes. Then social pressure may be what will help those secret brains, the people, subject matter experts who have a lot of knowledge but who don't want to share. So social pressure will probably make sure that they engage later on. When many of his or her colleagues and friends will engage, well, he or she will follow. And maybe some of the people will never follow, and it's okay. We all don't have to be on the community. It's okay to have different kind of background and expertise. Even if they don't post there or contribute or interact there, at least they need to look at what happens on the community, because that's where life is. That's where real user experience is, on the community. And another, this one from Simon Jomor, who just made a speech on Novel that you can see on the recording. So, is there a shortcut to trust? Definitely short to stop trusting when it goes wrong. Okay, shortcut to trust. Trust, I guess, is the hardest thing to build for a crowd. By default, people are pretty skeptical about somebody showing up. But by making sure you walk the talk, you do what you say, by making sure you help others to succeed, then you begin to earn trust. As John Hall said earlier today, pretty early today, trust is something that is earned. And by the way, let's go back on the question from Daniel here about moderators and community managers. Well, the way we identify in the community who could be a moderator is exactly that. We see people who help each other. Those people have big number of points. They help the others. Well, okay, maybe they could have access to more powerful capabilities, and then some of them become moderators. So that was a question from Simon. Community management, just to share my background here. I actually used to be an IT service management consultant implementing tools from many vendors. Then joined a startup, Remedy at the time, acquired then. And I began to use community management because there were too many issues with emails, like repeat and how to find information, and etc. And then the way things worked is that because I was using a lot the communities, somebody in the US just spotted me and said, "Hey Matt, do you want to go further in your engagement here?" And that's how I began to use a lot the communities. So definitely what you said about picking, and I'm talking to Daniel here, picking a moderator and then a community manager. That's because some users play ball and see the value to help the bigger community. Any other question? If not, we're sharp, just on time. So definitely the good far outweighs the bad and the ugly. By sharing transparently, making sure to use a flat hierarchy, a flat structure where people can learn from each other in a seamless manner, avoiding bottlenecks. Definitely we achieve win-wins, both from a partner, customer, analyst, engineering, product management, documentation, everybody wins by sharing. Thanks all. You have a wonderful time. There are another bunch of great sessions happening in the next hours with the US waking up too. Thanks for your time. You can find me again on Twitter at Matt_L. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.